And welcome, Beatrice. Many of you might know you, at least some of our Indian people might know you, because as you said before, you have been to an Insights Week. Beatrice is a big supporter of Making More Health, and I'm very happy that you agreed to run a session today, which is called Home Risk Management. And with this, I just hand over to you. I will
Okay.
be only in the background now, and maybe if someone has to come in again, technical issues, so I try to fix it in the background.
Thank
Beatrice,
you so much, Manuela.
you.
So, so thank you for having me with you today. I'm very proud to be there. I have invited also Kirsten with me, even if Kirsten will discover the training like you today, because we really want to support you the more we can. So I'm Beatrice Alterman. I'm hope you understand my bad English because I'm French. So don't worry if I'm speaking too fast or if you don't understand, just raise your hand, please. You know how to raise your hand, everybody? So you just go at the top of your screen and you do like this. If you have a camera open, it's even easier. So yes, I'm worked for Boehringer since 23 years already. So I'm an old, I have some gray hair here. So I'm an old woman in by Boehringer world. And my background is construction engineer. So it's important to you to understand. I'm more a technical woman. But my job today is to take care about health and safety of all employees worldwide. Okay? So I have had a lot of position in the Boehringer, and that's why I will talk to you today about risk management. I have tried to take very basics examples. So probably it's too basics, but I can go very deep dive in technical area. You can imagine with my background. So if it's too basic, just let me know. I will go deep, even if we don't have the slides for you here. I can even give you more information later. Okay? Don't hesitate to ask me, Beatrice, I would like to know more about that. And I will send you something. Okay? Great. So I will share now my screen, and I'm sure Kirsten will help me because Kirsten, if you could present yourself quickly as well, that would be amazing.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me, Beatrice, to that meeting. Happy to meet you all virtually. My name is Kerstin Metzler, and I'm a part of Beatrice's team here in Global Health Management, and I'm taking care of our internal employee health program. But I'm also very interested in making more health, and did also a project during the past months together with colleagues. And yeah, I have a very long relationship already with Manuela. Yeah, and yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
So now let's go to the topic that you don't waste too much of your time. So risk management at home. Oops. I hope my screen. Do you see my screen? Yes, great. So I propose you. Great. So we have three main goals today together. Okay. The first one is that you understand what is risk at home. What do we mean by risk at home? Then we will try to exchange together. Okay, define how to manage those risks. And there is I will go systematically with the same approach with different examples that you can understand it. And of course, to share together. It's not only me speaking, it's also sharing together something. So probably here we will reflect on what do you see yourself in your daily life, or what do you want to share together here about the everyday situation. So, hop. Okay, so let's introduce the risk at home. So it's important to understand the importance of risk management because understanding and evaluating the risk at home can really safeguard your health and the safety of yourself, of course, but not only about yourself, about the communities. So everything you will do in evaluating the risk, in taking some time just to observe what's going on around you, is really very important in every kind of society, because if you take this time, you can really anticipate the risk. And here I propose you to go through three different areas, the risk in your home or in your direct area of the home. So you have, for example, the electrical risk, you have fire risk, and you can have food storage risk. For example, in this area. I took those examples with Jeremy. We try to say, okay, what will make sense for you? The second kind of risk I would like to discuss with you is the risk for your health. So, for example, a big risk we have seen. I have seen in India that you use a lot of fire in the home to cook, for example, and the smoke can really affect your health. So this is one of the health risk you have around you. Hygiene measures will affect definitely your health if you don't consider them properly. And the disease prevention. How can you safeguard yourself from disease prevention? And last but not least, we were thinking, let's think about a bit broader. And let's think about, okay, what about road safety? I'm sure you have seen the condition of road safety in India or in Kenya already, and that's a challenge, I can tell you. The climate change could affect also, could be a huge risk as well. The water, where comes the water? How do you manage the water? Could be a huge risk as well. And last but not least, animals. Animals can consider also as being a risk for your daily life. So did I miss something important first here on the risk that you have in mind when I talk about risk? Does anybody want to add something here that I miss or you would like to know more about? Not yet. You are shy. Okay. So let's go on. And you stop me later. But you will have to participate, huh? I'm sure. I don't want you only to talk all the 1 hour for 1 hour. Great. So, okay, understanding the importance of managing the risk. First of all, why we want to manage the risk at home and in your surrounding, and it's because this prevents from accident and injuries. Every small things you will do, considering the risk and to prevent it, will avoid accidents. Okay, or injuries. So many accidents can occur at home in every countries, and from sleep, fall, burns, cuts, and even stronger accidents. So it's really important to avoid those accidents. The second aspect is if you consider properly the risk, you can even promote the health of yourself and or the community. So for this, you need to have somehow certain conditions at home. You need to really avoid to have poor air quality, to have health, to avoid to have smoke, for example, like I discussed before, to avoid to have too much insects or who could really also spread some disease. So it's important here to promote the health. You need also to protect the vulnerable individuals. Who are the vulnerable individuals? The children first. It's really important. If you don't spread those message, what is the risk? What you can do to avoid the risk to the children? Then they will grow with bad habits. And then these habits will also endanger them, their health or their safety. Then also you have to consider the elderly people. They are vulnerable people as well. So let's also be careful how to manage those people in a certain way that they can avoid those risks. Or even individuals with disability, for example. So it's really important for them to protect them by taking care of the risk around you. Another important topic is the stress. And Kerstin is very, very deep dive in stress management and mental health, but each time you care about a risk, somehow your stress level is impacted because you don't fear that something is happening, because you have already anticipated what could happen and you have already implemented some measures to avoid it, or at least to have a plan B or an alternative. So really managing the risk and preventing the risk will help you to have less anxiety and stress around the situation. You will be better prepared. So this is the idea, to be better prepared. And if you are better prepared, then this decrease the stress level. Okay. And last but not least, being able to prevent the propagation of disease or having a better level of health. This also avoid medical cost, because if you can prevent it up front, then you will not get the disease and then you will not have to go to the hospital. So these small things that you can do in your daily life is really a big value for yourself and the community. So, okay, let's go here. So when we talk about risk management in a company, we follow these 5 steps, okay? So, and of course, it's the same thing at home. Of course, you don't do it so formalized, but you just do it instinctively. So first of all, you identify the risk. That means you really should observe what's going wrong in your daily activities, what could be harmful, where can you change something. Here, it's really what we say, identifying the risk. Then instinctively, sometimes you don't do it consciously, but you evaluate, is it really a huge risk or is it a low risk? And is it, if I don't do something, is it a huge consequence? Or, sorry, or, okay, even if it's happened, it has no consequence for me or for my community. Okay, so this is what we call evaluation of the risk. How likely are these incidents happening? How severe it could be? Then after that, when you have done this unconsciously, you decide to do something or not to do something. And then you will decide, okay, what kind of precaution, what should I should do to prevent those incidents to happen, or to reduce the severity? If it's happening, probably I can do something to avoid it too severe. And last but not least, you implement that. And normally this circle of management of risk and evaluation of risk and implementing the precaution is something you do and redo and redo. It's really something you do regularly. Okay, because the risks are always evolving as well. So remember, the goal of risk assessment is to make your daily life safer by being aware of potential danger and taking steps to prevent them. Okay? Any questions so far? No? I have some chat here. Okay. We could go to the question after. So let's define how to manage those risks together. I put some risk, I have developed the risk I have mentioned before, but before, I hope you can discuss and open now your microphone. What is your understanding of your own risk at home? So if everybody can open the microphone and give one example of his risks, of one of the risks he wants to share.
Electricity?
Yeah. Thank you.
Electricity is very dangerous.
Viva, you want to say? You are mute, Viva.
Your mic is mute.
The gas.
The gas. The gas.
cylinder.
That's good. It was missing. You're right. Thank you, Viva. Karuyan, want to say something? No? Who wants to go next?
Knife.
Maybe for the kids, the stairs.
Knife.
The stairs. Yeah. This is, in European countries, a lot of people die in stairs. It's amazing. You have no idea. It's amazing. Stairs. Very good example. Thank you, Viva.
Maybe the slippery floor. For the aged people.
Yeah. What we see more and more in European organization, I'm sorry to take this example because I don't know so much how it's working in your countries in detail, but we have to train elderly people to move again because sometimes they are too statics and then they are not balancing them anymore enough. So we enforce, but in Indian countries, I think you are very used to that, to make practices, yoga. So people are used to that. But in European country, people are so much static that they don't balance them and they sleep. You're right. Thank you, Viva. Francis, you want to say something?
Sharp materials like knife and other materials. Sharp.
Thank you.
Materials.
Yeah, sharp material. Yeah, you can cut you very fast. Someone is raising their hand, but I don't know. It's we.
Cleaning materials.
Clearing.
Yes, like toilet cleaning, acid and.
Yeah. Cleaning materials. Yeah, dancer is good. Yeah, dancer is good as well. Yeah. Thank you very much. Francis, you want to say something?
So, yes, I want to say something. Also, cooking with charcoal or firewood. traditional methods of cooking, which are also dangerous within the areas we operate at and at home.
Yes, we will talk about that one today. I took this one. I did not took the gas or the chemical, but that could be great also probably for another session to go through that. Yes? Shobi, you wanted to say something?
Use of internets. While using the internets, we have to keep proper password.
Yeah, that's a risk, a digital risk. That's very good as well. I did not thought about that one. I take was an example and I will develop that later. Okay, digital gas, we said, chemicals. Thank you very much, Shobi. Very good example. I did not took these ones too, but if you want more information, I will give you more information. Any other things you want to share or you want to know more about? No? Chandra, you want to say something?
Materials. Glass waste.
Glass waste. Yeah, a lot of cut with that as well. Yeah, glass waste. Okay. Yeah, Gasp?
Plastic items also dangerous. Some people are putting water inside the plastic items. After that, they are drinking. That is also dangerous.
Yeah.
முரளி கொஞ்சம் தமிழ்ல கொஞ்சம் சொன்னா பரவாயில்லையே.
மேம் இப்போ நம்ம வீட்ல என்னென்ன ரிஸ்கான ஐட்டம்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு கேக்குறாங்க மேடம்.
சரி சரி சரி.
அதான் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
அத நீங்க சொல்லிட்டு கத்தி எல்லாம்
is very important. Routine maintenance is very important. If you are not maintaining our products, that may also put us in risk.
Yeah. Wow, we are very far deep in the topics. Thank you very much. So, thank you for your kind ideas and your risk you wanted to share as well. And I will just mute because there's some noise. If you can remute yourself just to be sure they can hear the presentation and for the recording, that would be great. And again, so I will go through some of them, and probably the example I share with you are not good enough, but I try my best. I can tell you to find the image and to try to make it as concrete as possible. So do not hesitate to share also to open your microphone again and to share ideas. Okay. So let me go to the next slide. Okay. Oops, sorry.
Some persons are raising hand. Please note it that.
Someone raise their hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think from Kenya, CH and WI.
I think what I wanted to share also been shared by Francis. I was talking about smoke inhalation is very common in our area, and I think it portends long-term risks in terms of health.
Yeah, that's exactly. We will talk about that one. This one is always underestimate. Sorry, underestimate. Yeah. Yeah. So I will go through some risk just to give you some impulse, okay? And of course, we can deep dive in the topics. One of the most important thing for the health is, first of all, to care about also the food storage. This looks probably very easy, but it's sometimes underestimate that if you don't store your food properly, if you don't have a good facility or an area where you're really careful about the food, if you don't control the temperature or to avoid that you can spoil the food at the end, or if you have a poor sanitation of the food, that can affect the health directly of people. So it's really important here, and I gave you some images to illustrate that okay, we don't want to waste the food. Of course, it's super important food, and clearly that could lead some health issues. And so it's important to have a dedicated area. You see here, I put an example of a market where the food is put in buckets, for example, here. The idea is also probably to cover the food to avoid that insect can go in, because insects bring also disease with them sometimes. And also not let the food on the floor directly. It's super important. You have seen, this is an example, okay, at least the food is well covered, but it's better to avoid to put the food on the floor because insects are going in as well. So, and of course, you should have a kind of turnover of food, it's important as well, just to enable you to clean the area as well. To a certain point, you need to empty it to be sure somehow that you can fully have it again cleaned and to protect everything. So yeah, so increase the food rotation and clean regularly the food storage is very important. And food is the most impactful element of your health. It's really where it's balanced. It's the first area where you enter bacteria in your body. And so it's really important to invest time in minimizing this the risk when it comes to food storage to start with it. So that's an example, but of course there are many other examples, okay? I wanted to take the example of fire, and I put some image here as well for you. Fire risk. And I don't talk now about the smoke yet. I will talk just about the fire. You will see in all my slides that I took always 3 steps. Identify the risk. Sorry. Evaluate the risk and take action. So when it comes to fire, you see in the first picture here, the people are very, very close from the fire. It should be very cold, I think, but it's dangerous. Yeah? Even the small children, you see he have his vest and his clothes very close from the fire. That can burn him. And what you see also on the floor here, that is the combustion, I do not remember the word exactly, but the wood, let's say the wood or what they burn is very not separated from the fire. So that means the fire can expand on the side. You see it? So if you don't pay attention to a certain point, you can expand the fire very fast to the environment here. Hopefully the rest of the street is okay. But if you are in the forest or if you do it in an area, you can even burn a house very fast. So what you see in the second picture, so first of all, when I say, I say in the first picture, identify this, take some time to observe what's going on around you. Because if you observe your surrounding, you will take immediately what I told you, some decision. You said, oh, is it a real risk to propagate it, the fire? Not, or yes? Can I do something to avoid that? And of course, and then you go to the second picture. Fire, you see the people they are cold as well, but they are not so close on the fire. And you don't see, okay, here you don't have children. It's always very dangerous to put children if you don't contain a fire in an area, because sometimes children, they don't see the risk of burning. They just see it, oh, it's fun, it's moving. And they just come to the fire without seriously thinking it's dangerous. What you see here, you have stones around. So they have separated somehow the fire from the people. So it's a simple way, at least to avoid that we have a propagation. And here you don't see the contamination with the storage of what you want to burn. Yeah, a question. Someone raised their hand again. Sorry. No? Okay. I go ahead. So it's always important to see if you have a fire, limit the place where the fire should take place with any kind of measure, even simple stones, because even visually, this says to the people and the children, this is the limit, you cannot go further. And last but not least, you should be prepared to the worst. What does it mean being prepared to the worst? If you have a fire in your area, you need to have a fire, or if someone has to have a fire, where is the water in case the fire propagate? And do you have a bucket, something, a container, just to be sure that you can stop the fire? Okay. That's important just to have it in mind. You know, it's really what we mean by evaluating the risk and being ready for the worst situation, having anticipated the risk. Because if you are not in a community to a certain point, if a fire starts and nobody has think about it, then it will be a rush, a high level of stress, and you will have much more damage than you could have had if you were prepared to it. Okay? So, simple habits really can limit the propagation, and it's really here very important to understand it. So very simple things, having really keep the distance from the fire, avoid propagation, and being ready for an emergency. That would be the 3 advice I would give here. And train the children, of course. It's important that you say to the children that fire is dangerous. Okay, so electrical risk. Again, here you see a lot of things. I took some pictures just to try to illustrate. You need to identify the electrical risk. You have different kind of electrical risk. It could be really the distribution of electricity. I don't know how you are distributed for the house. It could be the fact that, okay, you have you can fall. You see, people we see manipulating electricity. They can even fall from doing these connections. But also you can have in the daily life bad connections or cable damage or everything you can observe. I will show you a small video how we train the people in Europe on this kind of risk in daily life, in the small video. So which is super important again, observe your surrounding, how electricity is coming to you. Here you see this is a transformer here. This is super dangerous because that means it's a kind of high power coming here. And you should not touch that. Anybody should not access to that. And if something is accessible, that could really lead to death. Another thing I want to say you, electricity, you don't see it, okay? Electricity love to go to the ground. This is the target of electricity. Electricity, you can imagine electricity like a waterfall. The water is at the top. The only wish of waterfall is to go down. It's the same for electricity, but you don't see it. It's not like water. You don't see electricity. What does it mean? If a cable from a high power or even a power at home is going to the ground or falling down, the electricity will propagate in the ground around 2-3 meters, not at home at least, but for the high power, 2-3 meters. That means even if you go to a circle of 2-3 meters to this cable, you can have electrical shock. Okay, that's super important to understand. So if you see an electrical cable on the floor, or if you have a damage of a cable at home, it's very important to have the reflex to understand, shut down. It should be shut down. Don't try to approach it. You should find a way to shut down the electricity. You will not see the risk. You don't know if there is electricity in. You need just to be sure it's shut down. Because anybody who's coming close to this cable can have an electrical shock. What does it mean to have an electrical shock? An electrical shock will burn your body inside. You will not see the damage most of the time. It will burn either your heart or your organs inside. You will not see the damage. Okay? You don't see the electricity, you don't see the damage. That's the power of electricity. It's super dangerous. Okay, so don't never underestimate the risk of electricity. And if you need to understand how to make the right things, ask questions as well. We can support you as well for some information. Of course, we cannot manage everything, but it's important to also for the children and for the people who have no understanding to put small signature. You can even draw it with a pen, whatever. It's have an understanding. What does it mean to have a danger signature on electricity? Because people most of the time they don't see it, so they don't understand it. And train children that if a children see a cable on the floor, not to approach it. Okay, very important. What can I tell you more? Yeah, I think it's enough. Yeah, I think it's enough. I just wanted to share with you if you have time at the end, because I think I'm talking too much now, and to show you the small video of how we train people on electricity in Europe. Yeah, that was something said by, I think, Muralidharan, smoke. So, yeah, or even from the Kenyan people. I try to mix really Kenyan and Indian image everywhere. So I hope you recognize yourself or some areas you know. So exactly what you were saying, the traditional cooking method is with fire. And you see, if you do a fire in a home, that's starting to be really smoky. And it's very dangerous here to identify the risk that having a poor ventilation is a risk. And open fires in the room is a risk for the health of people. So when you evaluate the risk, you should consider, do you cook a long time or not long time? Is there a huge density of fume? But not what is super important is what do you burn? You know, sometimes people forget that if you burn a plastic, this is super toxic. This is toxic. So clean, really, when choose what you burn. I see sometimes fire for plastics to just delete the waste. Don't breathe that 1 second. Okay, that's really super important. So if you have to cook, of course, you use normally wood or natural elements, but be careful of the toxicity of fumes if you burn something else. That's the first advice, which is very important. The second advice, of course, is the fumes in itself is not toxic, but it's unhealthy because it creates respiratory issues and it also increases the risk of heart attack. Okay, so you should avoid by any way to be too long in the smoke. You take distance, you increase the ventilation, and of course, the best is normally, I think you should have observed what we call the convection. It's natural convection. So let me explain that. Low temperature make the air very heavy. That means the air, when it's cold, is going at the down. When the air is hot, it's lighter. So that means it's going up. So when you make a fire, okay, systematically the smoke go to the top. You should see it. Huh? In every house you see it. Normally it's going at the top. So what you should do to avoid to be touched by the smoke is to let the smoke go up and help the smoke to go out. You know, so that's why you see the chimney normally when you can. That with the heat, the smoke is going up. You let the smoke go up, and with a hole, even a small hole, and it will go outside. Okay, that's normally the best way to do it. And to help that, sometimes we also enter an open air hole in the bottom. Then it's accelerating this way. The problem of this, of course, if you don't want to consume too fast your wood, sometimes people will avoid that because they say, oh, yes, but my wood will burn faster. And I don't want that. I want to keep my wood as long as possible. But okay, it's better for your health, at least. So advice, improve ventilation and help the fumes to go outside from the top. And do not cook, if possible, in your living room. So try to separate where you cook from where you live, because then you will avoid this risk. And of course, if you have to cook very long time, it's better to cook outside because then you even avoid some propagation in the rooms. Okay, it's clear, I hope. Yeah, thank you. Great, so I go next. Okay, hygiene measures. Hygiene education is essential. It's really also like the food storage or the food approach. This is the first thing to start with. As well for children. You see the children here, they just probably play, but that's completely unhealthy for them. Of course, you cannot stop them. We see that everywhere worldwide. The children, they love what is dirty and what they can play with. So at least what you should learn them is to, if they touch contaminated water, they should clean their hands. So it's really, and of course, they should understand that this is a risk for themselves already, just touching it. Or because if they have some cut of some things on the hands, that means they can already contaminate their blood. So another things we sometimes see, of course, it's progressing everywhere worldwide, but the defections outside, that's underestimated as well. That looks very natural, but somehow it's polluting the soil. And if you pollute the soil, you pollute the water source. And so it's really something, the toilets, of course, are not something you see everywhere, but it's important to really, as a community, to agree where do we accept the pollution to be and where we should not have it at all. And at least when you are close from the water source, you should avoid that absolutely. Another thing is the handling of food. In the hygiene measure, this is also something you should not underestimate. Of course, you cook the food, but it's better if you clean it before, always as well. So yeah. That was the three main risks I see here: water source contamination, the sanitation of toilets, and having an area clearly identified with the community for that, and last but not least, to handling the food properly. Of course, that means you need to have some sanitation facilities. You have to organize it. And I remember I took this photo from India because it was just amazing. The children were sitting on the floor, and before eating, they were all cleaning their hands. That's small things, but it's exactly what we should do. Huh?
That is from GASP.
Do you want to add something?
No, you can continue.
Okay, great. So really, the hygiene measures really, this reduce the disease transmission and save lives. As simple as that. So it's not only to have clean hands, it's really to really, it's already somehow a medical treatment. We sometimes forget that. Okay, so this is the basics. So disease prevention. Yeah. So I think you are better than everybody in Europe for that. I would say it's hard to use natural resources to make disease prevention. And the food should be balanced, of course. And you have a lot of spicy. I remember Viva, you show us how to use spice for your own treatment. You don't need sometimes to pay expensive medicament. You can also use natural sources for that. And but again, here the risk you see is if you don't have any healthcare access, better know it and be prepared. And probably in those areas where you don't have healthcare access, it's even more important to understand what resources you have to help you for your health. It's the same thing if the hospital is too far or too expensive. It's important. Do you have a dispensary? Do you have someone who can really learn more about this in the community and really find ways that this person can be your reference person as well? And of course, living condition, as we have seen before, it's super important. We have seen during the pandemic, it's really going very fast in the wrong direction here. So here it's important to also have some rules in the community, to establish some rules. Okay, if someone is ill, how do we avoid the propagation? How do we care that someone ill does not contaminate all the community? And of course, it's not good to isolate completely a person, but at least if you limit the contact with other people, have someone who is probably more solid or more healthy, I don't know, who can care about this person. That's easier as well to avoid this propagation. But this person the person who is caring of the ill person should have really strict sanitation. Even sometimes we have seen during the COVID, we had to change the gloves completely. You go to an area, you go to the person, you clean your everything, and then when you go out before you change the gloves, then you even do not contaminate yourself. I know it's not always feasible, but this is simple things that you can do nearly everywhere, just to avoid the propagation of disease. What is important is not to fear about doctors or nurse. It's important. They have knowledge for that. So if you have access to this area, just benefit of it. They are really, if you can have access. I don't know if it's the case, but yeah, don't hesitate to use these resources. You have more and more of also good and bad information on internet, but that's a source of information. So it's if you have access to that as well, it's not a password issue now, but it's more an advice. Yeah, train yourself and look what you have around you that can help you to stay healthy. Yeah, so daily measure can make the difference here and to avoid the propagation of disease. Vaccination is something that we promote a lot. I don't know if it's the case in your areas, but vaccination is just probably, I don't know if you know exactly the principle of vaccination, but somehow let me explain you. Your body learns himself how to defend, okay? This is the chemical of the body. Your body is clever enough to learn how to fight, okay? So what is a vaccine doing? A vaccine is doing, you take a disease, okay? you have the disease, how can I say that? Program, it's like a program, but you kill in the disease the effect of it. That means you somehow the disease is in the vaccination process, but it's not affecting you anymore. Okay, so we will introduce this killed disease in your body. Okay, and then the body will learn that this is not good for me, but you will not have the effect of a disease. Okay, so when you have this vaccination done in your body, that means somehow your body will learn how to kill these bacteria. Okay, and then when you have a real disease coming to you, okay, the body recognizes, I know this program, I know how to kill it, I will kill it. Okay, and then you kill the disease before the disease affects you, and this is only natural. I don't know if you know that. You are knowing that?
Yeah,
already
during
great.
the Corona days, we learned that.
Yeah.
During the Corona days.
Yeah. So this is really, it's just vaccination is just to help your body to learn how to kill the disease before the disease affects you. Okay. I'm not a doctor, so I will not go deeper, but thank you for saying you have learned that already. Okay, surrounding. I try to go probably faster. We have only 15 minutes. I didn't want to go. So road safety, here I will really go very fast. I would just say, do you really need to take those risks on the motorbike like this? I've seen in India, there are a lot of people now, they wear a helmet, but they don't attach them. What's the meaning of that? Why do you wear an helmet if you don't just attach it? If you fall, the helmet fall. So it will not protect you anymore. So it's very strange, but I think it's very basic thing as well. It's important to understand that limit the risk to what you really cannot do differently. And observe again the area. If even the conditions outside are very poor, can you postpone your travel? If there are too much traffic and you feel really unsafe, probably, okay, can you go in another direction? Yeah, and also learn your children the basics there. Of course, we cross a road everywhere, in the world, but yeah, I think that the sense to assess the risk, okay, I need to check, okay, is someone coming on the left, on the right, and before crossing, I do it again. Okay. Water. The risk we see in main area is water is becoming a gold. Okay, even more now. Okay. So you have to observe your area. Where is the source? You need to understand where is the source of water. Do you have risk of contamination of this water or not? And and of course, what is important is also how you transport the water, how you share the water. And last but not least, do not forget to decontaminate the water. And so what is important is also proper waste disposal can limit the risk of pollution of water. So this is something we observe most of the time. Is the area where the source of water is should be maintained somehow clean as well. And where you store the water should be maintained clean as well. And even if you boil it, why not protecting your water? It's gold. It's the most important thing for keeping also the hydration. And of course, you have chemical treatment, but if you can avoid it, of course, that's great. If not, you have also in this image, you don't see it here, but you have also systems that community can also try to have subvention sometimes to get project to have a decontamination by UV. It's really something by solar exchange. This is quite technical, but it's something you should know. If you want to drive something for the community, it's something you can also ask for some subvention or NGOs, I don't know, to support you in that direction. And be ready to the scarcity. That means if your source of water is really decreasing year after year, ask yourself, what's the alternative? What's the next step? Because if you cannot stop it, really, you need to be ready to the next step. Think about it, discuss about it. The community will decide what's the best for the community, but it's important to discuss it, to be ready for it. I think it's the last one. This one, the animals. Yeah, I don't know if you know this word zoonotic. More and more worldwide, the animals also bring disease to the humans. Okay, this is what we call zoonotic. It's the disease coming from an animal and transmitted to a human. Also, you have a different risk with animals. When you, of course, live with animals, you can also have injuries with animals because the animals have also their own character, and sometimes their character is not matching with your character, so or what you want to do to ask them to do. So you need to consider them as really an entity in itself to avoid the injury. And also, last but not least, animals can damage the property. So if they are very too nervous or whatever, something happened, and then they can damage the property. So when you come to evaluation of the risk, it's important to observe and to learn how the animals are reacting. I learned from myself how to communicate with my dog. That's probably stupid, but I can tell you there is a language to understand. They are their own language. So I will not train you on that now, but it's important to understand and to also say the children, because the children, they like to be picky with the animals usually. It's like a game. They see that as a game, and it's important that they understand there are limits with animals as well. So observe the reaction, understand the reaction of animals, its behavior, and if something is changing, because it could be that the animal it has a disease, then you should take action as well. What kind of action could you take? Of course, first of all, it's like a human. The hygiene is super important for animals as well. You need to clean the area of the animals. You need to be sure that the animals are also in good condition to stay healthy. You need to repair the fence. If you need to have a clear segregation, because between human and animals, you need to clean the fence and any containment measure. And you need to educate the community to respect the animals as well. Because, and of course, last but not least, if you can afford it, there is also, you see a vaccination here. So there are some vaccination programs for animals as well. And you can check with veterinarian and specialists also the health of the animals. So, but first of all, observe, clean the area, separate animals if you can from the humans, and to have effective containment. So yeah, that will make the risk lower. And yeah, and establishing also the containment will protect your own animals from the wild animals as well. So it's important as well to have it in mind. It's also not only protecting the human from the animal, but it's also protecting the animal from the other animals. So yeah, because the wild animal bring also disease. Okay. And if you get in contact with animals, things always, should I clean my hands now? Because it could, there could be a propagation of the disease from the animal to myself. Oh yeah, and the last one was climate change. So this is the last one. So yeah, this one is the next year's program for all of us. Yeah, and it's already started everywhere. So you see new patterns in the weather, in the agriculture, track water availability is super important. But then the problem is you have a dry soil and then suddenly it's starting to rain like hell. You have what you see in the next page, in the next picture. So we should avoid to have those dry soil as much as we can, at least in the area where we live. You need to consider where you are. Are you in the valley, in the valley, or in a mountain? Because that can protect you from flooding. And evaluate the resources you have around you and be ready as well. Okay, if something like this happen again, what should I do? Well, how should I prepare myself to that? So for example, here you see some things like even if you have a huge flooding, that's super great, but sometimes the water is completely contaminated in that case. You have a lot of water, but fully contaminated. So it's happened in most of the area in Europe. That looks great. You said, great of water. No. You destroy all the agriculture and the water is completely contaminated. So promote climate resilient agriculture. Water conservation is important in that cases, and also education of children, what you can do to slowly but surely change that. And again, in India, I remember, Viba, you have shown it an area where people were thinking in long term. So they were having this kind of dry soil, but with irrigation, with good agriculture measures, we have changed this dry soil to a real agriculture soil again. It took years for that. But most of the time, our elderly people had the right attitude here. So don't think too much in what you need now, but how can you rebuild something sustainable? So thinking long term is super important there as well, and to be ready to the worst as well again. Huh? So I will stop talking now. It's your turn. We have only 5 minutes left, and I wanted just to make a small exercise. So look, read at the text, and if only one of you can say, okay, what would you do to prevent this accident to happen? So a young child in a rural Kenyan area village was involved in a serious accident while helping with household chores. The child was tasked with fetching water from a nearby well, a routine task that children often assist in the community. While carrying the heavy buckets, the child tripped over the protruding tree root, causing the bucket to tip over and the child to fall. The child's arm landed on a sharp rock, causing a deep cut. The child immediately experienced a severe pain and bleeding, later diagnosed a significant laceration, and etc. So this looks really simple, and I would like one of you to tell me, how can I prevent that? What I don't want to hear, Beatrice, this is a tree. What can you do against tree? Who wants to try? Yes. Ayana, go ahead. Very exciting to hear you.
Hi. Well,
Hi.
I don't know much about trees, but I think for precaution measures, maybe I personally could try and cut the roots that are protruding out of the soil, or maybe cover it with a lot of soil. That's my thought.
That's a good idea. Very good. I like it. Exactly. For example, you can cut the root or put soil on it and somehow you can walk on it safely. That's the point. Correct? Well, Mayana? Very good. What else can you think we can do? This child, is there another way to go there or not? Sometimes you take shortcut. You cross the road where you should not cross the road because you don't see the risk. Huh?
We can change the pathway.
Exactly. Why not? You say, hey, where is the risk? You talk together. Hey, there is a risk here, guys. Be careful. Let's change the pathway. It will be a little bit longer, but it's safer.
Yeah.
Because when you wear something, most of the time you are not so much concentrating on the soil. Huh? And even worse, if you wear something in front of you, you don't see the soil anymore. Never forget that. Huh? Okay, thank you very much for the contribution. And yeah, we will not have too much, so I just engage you to take action, become safety role model, be aware of the risk, care on safety of well-being of each other. And I would love if you could put some words in the chat, of course, to give positive impression of improvement ideas. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Many thanks, Beatrice. This was fantastic. I'm pretty sure we all liked it. So a big applause, a virtual applause, and maybe even to you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All the impressions are positive.
She's a good teacher, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Beatrice, looking forward. I think we'll take over also next session, not directly after this session, but I think in December. I'm not wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I will prepare another session, and I take those risk, digital, gas, chemical, glass waste, of course, and maintenance. If you are interested, we can even have another session next year about those specific risks as well.
Well, thank you so much, and we definitely look forward to having all of you with us again. Thanks also to all my teams and communities and NGOs. Have still a nice day. Bye-bye. See you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you so much for
Bye.
Bye.